Alright, I got a riddle for you.
Let's hear it.
Shit, I totally forgot. I had it. I sent it to Tanner yesterday, and it's just gone now.
I'm gripping and ripping for a riddle, though. I mean, you want to try?
Uh, Hang on, yeah, I'm gonna look this up.
All right.
I have it in my Discord there somewhere.
All right.
Something that everybody does at the same time.
Jump if they want to change the earth. Rope it. Oh my god, hold on. Can I try it again? Hello everybody and welcome back to the Double Dip Draft Season 6, Week 5 of the Diamond Division Recap. I am your host, Spood, coach of the Southtown Sandslashers. Joining me as always,
I'm Kenneth, coach of the Ne'er-Do-Well Nidoking.
as per usual, we have got 4 matches to break down in the Diamond Division of Week 5 of Season 6. We've been over this. Hey, the other 2 divisions got shaken up a bit due to some player dropouts last week, and they are going to be pretty packed to the brim with new information, player breakdowns, et al. So if you're interested in those things, you should check out those division recaps. However, Diamond Division kept it simple, kept it straightforward, kept it clean. No dropouts, no, player subbing, no late games. It's all just as she wrote. So I'm looking forward to getting into some simple stuff.
Nice and easy on paper.
Truth. You want to go ahead and introduce our first match?
Yeah, we've got Skittles a Butt, most cultured man in Double Dip Draft, running his mono water team under the name Crystal Cresselias, and Lady Aylin 24, coach of the Primarina-H, which I actually forgot in the moment, but I saw Primarina, so it worked out.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Primarina-H, she explained the name.
Is it hemorrhoids?
No, it is not hemorrhoids. It's Primarina-H. It's I guess a hormone therapy for like trans people.
That's very neat.
Yeah, I've never actually heard of that, but it's very clever. Primarin sounds a lot like Primarina. Y'all feel?
It does. Unfortunately, Primarina-H sounds a lot like Preparation-H.
It does sound a lot like Preparation-H to those uninformed, and that's very tragic, but, we still love Aelin for that. So if you're ever wondering, again, what the H stands for, it stands for hormone.
Primarina hormone.
Primarina hormone. Okay, so this one was a very hype match, a lot of excitement going into it. Do you know why?
Skittles finally brought Suicune.
Well, there's that. I think the main thing is they were both 0-4. So going into this week, someone had to get their very first win, which is always big exciting. We're finally kind of at the point in the season where our bottom 3 in Diamond, which is currently, as of week 5, or I guess as of week 4's results, is Aelin, Skittles, and Milo. All 3 of them 0-4. They're now going to start playing each other. So people are finally going to start getting their wins.
Very nice. Hopefully adds a little more morale to the lower echelon of the Diamond Division.
Yeah, definitely, because they're hurting for some wins down there. And this is the very first of that kind of trifecta of matches where we've got Skittles versus Aelin. Skittles again, mono water team. You did mention previously in this recording, this is the first time I believe that Skittles has brought Suicune, which is a Pokemon infamous for being like really strong. Especially, even in Double Dip specifically, going back to like Season 1, Your Best Elevator had, I think, an almost flawless season. In multiple games, just came down to like Suicune versus like 4 Pokemon, and then it just did its Calm Mind Rest Talk shenanigans, and then it won.
It just always won, yeah.
Yep.
Pro-Kun, as it were.
As it were. Conversely, Aelin has Breloom. So,
Yeah, it's like Breloom and 5 other Pokemon.
Yeah, so Breloom kind of goes absolutely sick nasty on this whole team. The only things it's really worried about are like fast Bruxish, fast Tapu Fini, and in some cases, like first impression off Golisopod. Otherwise, it absolutely wrecks everything else. But because you might like think because it depends on the set really, but like the ice typing, it's technically weak to ice, but also it's got fighting, so it can kind of blast right through wall rain.
Right, Sub Punch is a a very usable option versus Skittles of Draft minus like Feeny.
Yeah. And
maybe Bruxish. Bruxish is still going to take like 60% from a Focus Punch.
Yep.
Like Sub Punch Toxic Heal, because it can just wall any water hit.
Yeah.
And Toxic Heal prevents it from being scald burned by like everything, basically.
Right.
So
you have to be careful with that, though. If your Breloom does come out in front of Feeny or while Misty Terrain is up, then Toxic Orb will fail to proc. So that might be a little more dodgy than it might at first seem. But still, I mean, even in that scenario, like, Breloom is just so strong versus this whole team.
And truthfully, 4 of Skittles, like, now that I'm looking at it, 4 of Skittles' Pokemon can have the leg up on Breloom. Feeny can be Scarf Moonblast, Walrein can be Icicle Spear, and it'll live any one hit if it's from full. Bruxish, if it's fast, gets psychic things off, and then obviously First Impression from Gliscod. So he did bring answers to Breloom.
Yeah, he brought all the answers he had,
Yeah.
So let's see if he was able to get a leg up on Breloom, or if Breloom clean sweeps his team as per our predictions. I also love their icons. They're both rock and roll girls, Aelin gets the early sleep on Suicune. Skittles not so keen on staying in on that. Aelin immediately sets up Swords Dance with Breloom.
There's the scarf that we're talking about.
It doesn't even have to be.
I
mean, it just naturally has to be. It's 295 max.
295 versus 260. Yeah, okay. Champ. And I love this play because Breloom is so valuable against Skittles that it makes sense that Aelin wouldn't just leave it in to die.
We did debate the merit of that play. I feel like the risk-reward is absolutely insane to just be like, I'm going to leave my Golisopod in on Breloom and take a +2 Seed Bomb, and best-case scenario, get emergency exited out, and then suddenly, But he gets the read right, he knocks off the Togekiss, and then is able to come back in, and essentially bluffed to not having First Impression, so Aelin felt more comfortable with stacking her Breloom to it. Which now makes
it's a very complex interaction.
Yeah.
And Suicune is going to do Suicune things.
Yep, Suicune gets behind a substitute, and he's running Aqua Ring. And if you...
Cabral has ruined the draft.
Cabral has ruined the draft, yeah. So, we were having this conversation last night. Cabral has ruined water types.
Also, fun fact, that crit very much mattered, because I don't think it would have broken the sub at +1.
I don't know.
He's actually doing 14%, so it was going to do like 22, maybe.
The sub had already taken Rock Slide damage, though, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then play out of left field here. Garchomp does not click Outrage, clicks Earthquake, does like basically nothing.
Yeah.
Dies.
I mean, I don't know if Outrage actually would have killed.
If not, it would have got closer.
It would have gotten closer,
and then
but I don't
this
think
is the dog.
Yep.
Which
dog
I feel like the trick on
just
that
kidding. That's
I actually feel like going just directly into dog and clicking Stone Edge would have just been the better play, because that probably would have killed, and then Energy Ball at +2 does only a 1/4.
Yeah.
Also, there's a whole discussion going on in the chat right now. I don't know if it's cropped in the replay, but
it's not available in the replay. But
me especially, I thought that.
Okay, so let's pump the brakes on this, and we'll get there. So you finish your thought, and then we'll talk about it.
I did not know that Big Root stacked with Aqua Ring. That is news to me. And even though Aqua Ring Lefty would probably have been the more consistent choice, getting tricked the choice specs meant Aqua Ring was still getting the passive heal instead of leftovers being gone.
Yeah. So here's firstly, and Skittles has elaborated on this in chat. So he said, I know that leftovers would have been better, but I just think Aqua Ring Big Root, I just want to, again, for the culture, right? Like, it's funny, it's weird, it's everybody, like, gets so irritated when they see it because it's that Cabral set. So he was just like, yeah, I love Aqua Ring, let's run Aqua Ring. It did end up kind of being the right play, because Suicune did get tricked choice specs, which meant that if it was running no Aqua Ring and only leftovers, then it would have lost its passive healing. But since it's got Aqua Ring up, you can't trick away the Aqua Ring. You can only take away the Big Root. Which again, Big Root, objectively just worse. You would get the same amount of healing that Big Root Aqua Ring gives you if you were Aqua Ring plus leftovers, and then you wouldn't have to have a turn without leftovers healing. So, I don't know, man. I don't know, man.
But with the trick, it turns out that Aqua Ring, like posthumously, trick was
yes, Aqua Ring was the right call.
Aqua Ring was the better choice retroactive.
I just don't agree with Big Root. I think Big Root is very funny, very cultured. Again, I love Big Root, but I hate Big Root simultaneously. But we all learned something new about it.
That's true. Skittles taught us something, which is always a valuable experience.
So let's explain what just happened here, because we were talking while this pivotal turn happened.
Yeah.
So this Specs +2 Ice Beam is still kind of tearing up Aylin's team. It lives on 1%, gets leftied up to 7. Energy Ball definitely kills here, but Aelin instead opts to drop an Oceanic Operetta and kills the Suicune. Now, if you're not massively familiar with the rule set of Double Dip Draft, just as a refresher, Z-moves are not allowed. So we did not really account for that scenario upon which there would be a Z-move activated. It ultimately didn't matter. Any move, even like that move, non-Z move, would have been able to do 7%. And obviously Energy Ball was still doing plenty enough to kill. Skittles didn't end up switching out, so it didn't get undue damage on anything else. So we decided to make the executive call that it's fine, like no DQs happen, because it didn't end up, there was no tricking against Primarina, no knockoff damage mitigation. Like, it literally changed absolutely nothing. If anything, it made the Primarina worse because it had no passive healing or Chesto Berry or anything.
And on top of that, like, thinking about it, Primarinium, or whatever the Z crystal is for Oceanic Opera, is also just kind of the worst choice because of the mono water team that she's up against. Yeah. Like, the Twinkle Tackle would have at least been more, would have made more sense.
Yeah. It ends up being that the Oceanic Opera. So in the future, don't be encouraged to do that. Please don't use Z moves in Double Dip Draft. Thank you. Please make sure you refresh your knowledge of the rules on a regular basis if necessary. And Aelin apologized for it. She just wasn't aware, and it's not a big deal. Like, we analyzed the game state. It didn't change literally anything about that interaction. So we let it slide. No DQ in this case. But going forward, if someone does use a Z move, a disqualification for that match will happen. So just keep that in mind. Same applies again to Hidden Power, also banned. Baton Pass is banned. There's certain abilities that are banned, moves that are banned on certain Pokemon. So just make sure you're aware of bans. That's all I'm saying. Just double check it.
Now for Double Dip Season 6, everyone's going to get one Z move for the whole season. You only get one shot. Make it count.
This is Season 6.
For Season 7.
Okay. Anyway, so that's just something to talk about. So there goes first impression. Guard Dog is in. PodChamp is out. PodChamp is probably banded. I didn't calc it, but
Yeah. It also it's another added layer of the knockoff switch on a Togekiss.
Yeah. I also did actually like the counterattack. I don't know if it was calced that, Earthquake counter would have, been something that you could live, but she did have weakness policy on it. I'm sure, weakness policy into Sucker Punch could have actually been very threatening.
Right, because then it would have threatened Bruxish. It would have brought the emergency exit on the Wind Pod, probably. Yeah. If it was faster, of course.
Yeah. But all in all, yeah, Skittles actually just finally cruises his way to a 4-0 victory, defeating Aelin and taking his first win of Double Dip Draft Season 6 with the Mono Water team. You know what? I said at the very beginning, I think this team can win one, and it did.
I said at the very beginning that Suicune was the answer, and I was right.
So, Skittles always out here innovating, always making it look good. Aelin,
but also, I gotta drop the respect. Put it where it belongs. I did not know about the Big Root interaction with Aqua Ring, and he taught me something. Someone who's been playing this game for like a gajillion years.
Yeah, you've been playing for honestly
Gen 5.
Yeah, so Gen 5 was like 10 years ago. So you've had
about a decade.
A decade of experience under your belt. Did not know the Big Root and Aqua Ring stacks, because why would they? It doesn't make any sense. IDM also didn't know that, and then neither did I. So no one knows that, but now you do if you're curious. Unfortunate for Aelin, dropping to Skittles. Skittles did have the cojones to make reads and play aggressively, and he was rewarded with a Dead Breloom and a path to victory. So congrats to Skittles. We still got 2 weeks for Aelin to pick up a fat dub, and I do believe she can do it. IMO.
So,
going forward, we have got other matches. You know, in other news, bringing it back up to a little higher up in the rankings, as it were, we've got Black Captain, coach of the Martian Mantines, versus Bananas, coach of the Don't Drop That Dedennes. Bananas on the warpath, 4-0, no losses. Black Captain at this point, I believe, 3-1. So he's only dropped a game to Claire. Scoots?
Claire, yeah.
Scoots. No, Scoots. It was. You are absolutely right. It was Scoots, because it was his week 1, and he brought it close, but he did not end up clinching it versus Scoots. But he has beaten Cabral and I believe like Milo and someone else. So he's doing well. Black Captain doing really well. Bananas, though, is on another level. He's currently sitting at the very top of his division. His differential is still above that of Scoots and Claire. Completely just looking like a titan of the season, outperforming certainly my own expectations personally, and looking like kind of the threat of the Diamond division. And his last 2 matches are against Claire and Scoots, which are really exciting, but Black Captain is kind of like at the outer ring of like his most difficult matches. So this is where he's going to really start getting tested, and this is like Black Captain's opportunity to really cement his playoffs qualification. Because at this point, and we'll go more into more detail later on in the video when we get to the standings, but at this moment in time, Black Captain qualifies for playoffs, but he's not a lock. Whereas basically Claire, Scoots, and Bananas, barring any real shenanigans, should advance. Anyway.
all right, you want to get into it?
Let's do it, unless you got anything you want to say about team preview.
I mean, other than the obvious stuff, Megalopunny is absurd. Latios gets a lot of mileage out of this, outside of Aegislash and maybe like AV Skuntank.
Yeah.
Flamethrower is going to do a crap load to Whimsicott if he has it.
Mindshot.
But no, I don't really have anything to add.
Yeah, Mindshot can be pretty scary. Just like the Regenerator U-turn, close combat situation is really strong. Obviously, Aegislash can scare it out. Likewise with Mega Gallade. But, Bananas has answers to Black Captain stuff. Like Megalopunny doesn't necessarily want to get flame-bodied by Magmortar or stuck in versus like a Rocky Helmet Skarmory. But then you've also got like Rotom can deal. Magmortar is scared of Golurk. Whimsicott can scare out the fighting types. Rotom can scare out Skarmory and Masquerain, and genuinely Latios is also kind of scared, depending on the Aegislash set of Aegislash, Megalopunny, and Skuntank. So they both have pretty fairly obvious win cons. It looks like Black Captain wants to pivot around and gimp Pokemon a lot more, whereas Bananas is just trying to, position well, get reads correct, do his own pivoting with like Rotom into Megalopunny, and hopefully kind of canning the Megalopunny answers so that it can then sweep.
Let's get started.
Alrighty. I do love the Masquerain lead. It's been pretty consistent. But
as do I. Gets the plebs, could River Dance up if it needs to. Obviously, it gets out of there because Volt Switch. But unfortunately, that brings in the Skuntank, which is very clearly Assault Vest because it took 63. And I do love the Assurance play, trying to read the Pursuit, I'd assume. So, there's no habits up. So
yeah.
Doesn't really matter.
No, I mean, the Assurance is fine.
Maybe it's Life Orb. Maybe it's for Life Orb.
Maybe. And also, that is a ridiculous play. So if you're not familiar with Burning Jealousy, relatively weak, like, I think base 70 special fire-type move, but its gimmick is that if the opponent raises a stat that turn, they will always be burned by it. Which, Bananas gets the read fully correct on the Swords Dance and burns it. And Black Captain wants to Swords Dance on it because maybe he doesn't want to... he wants to basically punish a Sucker Punch if he's expecting it. And Burning Jealousy is pretty non-standard, so, good on Bananas to recognize that.
That is some tech.
And then Aftermath...
And the Aftermath also just completely stacks up.
Chips the hell out of this thing. And then Megalopunny has no reason not to just return to either kill this or catch a switch.
Yep.
Skarmory comes in, Bananas says goodbye.
Rotom answers that every single time without fear.
Yep.
Volt Switch is totally free here.
It's kind of too bad that Black Captain doesn't have a ground type here because Rotom Heat becomes such an issue.
Yeah.
And then Black Captain, basically, this understanding is like, I'm going to try and get the Flame Body, and he does get the Flame Body. So Mega
Lopunny now, my child is not kind of in a good position, so it gets U-turn out. Goes into Masquerain, and
no Scrappy, or no Intimidate because it's Scrappy, and then it reveals Facade. So Bananas planned to get Flame Bodied, or at least was prepared to deal with it.
Yeah, about to drop their quick attack for good measure.
Yep.
Oof.
And then Bananas gets the read into Aegislash because it's pretty safe. Autotomize makes it faster than both of these remaining Pokemon. And he reveals a special set that can handily deal with Skarmory, especially if it's running Iron Defense again, which it is.
Right, because like his answers to Lopunny are pretty few and far between, so it does make sense that Skarmory would be the Iron Defense set.
Yeah.
And then that just...
Yep. King Shield on the knockoff to bring it to -1. Bananas goes for the Shadow Ball, does not kill, but he does live the knockoff on 1% HP. Proc's weakness policy, Shadow Sneak kills. It was mentioned a little bit in the chat of the game afterwards, but this game, I mean, even when we were watching it live and when we were watching it again for the replay, this is just like a game where Bananas can already see the future. This is a game where Bananas knows exactly what Black Captain's going to click every turn and just hard punishes everything. Every bit of prep, as far as I could tell, was utilized in some way.
Yeah, Burning Jealousy got the burn on Gallade, Volt Switch because ground types.
Facade on Lopunny to deal with the and yeah, then the Aegislash set up to live exactly a -1 knockoff from Mind Shao, which he can activate with the King Shield. Just on all levels, Bananas, it looks like he just hard predicted the whole team and had answers to everything and executed the game plan to basically perfection.
Yeah. I don't really think there's much more to say. It was just some precognition.
Yeah, it was some precognition. Bananas looking like an actual Titan. I don't know what you're supposed to do about Bananas at this point, because he's got his shit together.
All right. Last match of the division for this week. Scoots 33, coach of the Dumblespoods army. And Milo Mega coaching the Canadian Cottonees. That's what it was.
Yep.
I keep looking for people's mascots, but only...
People don't draft their mascots.
Only Primarina-H did, I think.
I mean, I have a Sandslash.
Yeah, but your icon is not
Sandslash,
Panto.
Yeah.
It's a low.
I'm familiar. Well, where's your Nidoking, bro?
I had Nidoking in last season.
I ran 11 Sandslash like season 2 or something. So I've done it. All right, let's keep the respect that you know. Listen.
Tell me what you see in team preview here.
I'll tell you what I see in team preview here. I see Milo's all reliable. I do see Inteleon, which I don't think has been super present. Generally, actually, I think Milo has a good deal versus Scoots. Scoots running Stack Attacka, which is a very interesting set. I think that it's kind of just a contingency plan, worst case scenario versus, because really Stack Attacka's thing is just that it trick rooms and like puts some hazards and kind of can beast boost defense, which is not like amazing versus Milo, but a trick room against like maybe a Dragon Dance weakness policy Dragonite or like a Quiver Danced Volcarona, could be quite strong. So Scoots, Scoots has some tech for that. But conversely, Milo actually, this is a pretty solid team. I mean, besides like, AV Electros and then like, I don't know, Mega Garchomp, depending on like the spread or how many Quiver Dances you get. Like Volcarona looks very threatening. Flame Body looks like it could be very annoying for people to deal with. Inteleon actually is pretty scary for like Mega Garchomp and for Stack Attacka. There's options here. Even Durant and Jumpluff have their place in this match against like Milotic or Electros or Florges even to kind of counter the bulky,
Right. I think that's enough skirting around. So let's just go and get started.
All right, let's run it.
Close it out for this week.
We're not closing out until the next game. It's only game 3, my friend.
Oh, game 3?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
So, this thing reveals Rock Slide. Actually gets the flinch, which is really annoying, but you know, what are you gonna do?
Fortunately, the Protect does scat up the U-turn, and it's not lefty, so unfortunately it does get no recovery off that, but
yep.
I think, yeah, at least gets rocks out of the deal.
Yeah.
So, you poison the Spadef Wall, which could be good for stuff I can tell you on in Quiver Dance Volcarona later. So I do still think that Shuckle got some mileage, even if it did get flinched.
And it got 2 Toxics. I mean, you see he predicts the switch out there, and manages to land a Toxic.
Durant comes in for the obvious Iron Head.
Yep. Gets the Iron Head. Does a lot.
Sucks it up easy.
And then
misses the Thunder Fang because of Hustle.
Yep.
Yeah.
No Scald Burn, so at least there's that, but that, you know, kind of puts a wrench in things.
And then just to add insult to injury, Milo comes out with the Sleep Powder and completely misses and gets completely destroyed by it.
Yeah, really unfortunate for Milo. Like, that back-to-back hacks was very much not in his favor. He comes back a little bit because he gets the crit Thunderfang, but...
Only for, not that it mattered, but for Melodic to return crit afterwards. It's just...
Yeah, Scoots gets 2 dodges into a crit in a row, and it's just like, alright, dude. Relax.
And now it just is going to do stack attack things.
Yep.
Set up rocks. Survive the Snipe Shot because it does not crit.
Yep, does not crit. And if this thing was Sash, it would have been broken on rocks. So if Snipe Shot crit did happen there would have been no trick, you know, no trick room here, I should say.
And then I think they would have had more recourse. They could have gone directly to boost Volcarona.
Yeah, there was definitely options for this. And Volcarona comes in. The Zuck maybe would have died if you'd like gone for raw Flamethrower on top of like the Toxic plus Rocks damage, but again, pretty sure it was AV, so it probably wasn't going to handle it particularly well anyway.
And honestly, the match just plays out kind of textbook. Outside of the misses from Hustle, which were unfortunate, and the weird return crit, everything just sort of plays out sort of in Scoots' favor.
Yeah, by the end of the game, he's still got Weavile in play, and Dragonite cannot deal with it. All he can do is Extreme Speed before the Ice Shard and then die. Especially after
I got beef with Weavile's nickname, though.
I'm a tier 2. I mean, it is a tier 2.
It is a tier 2. Should not be tier 1.
A good tier 2. I mean, yeah, no one would ever draft a Weavile over, like, fucking...
Megalofunny.
Or whatever. Yeah, like Megalofunny, so... Yeah, Scoots making it look consistent again. I mean, Milo does do a good job at bringing Scoots low. Scoots has been kind of burning differential versus lower tier players. But he has not been taking any lumps.
Alright. Oh, okay, yeah, this is the last match. Yep. I remember now.
Final match of the evening. We have got Cabral 095 of the Hash, Slinging Aegislashers versus Claire of the Maryland
Manectrics.
Yep, you got it.
I got you, bro.
You got it. Thank you for that. This one was really, really important. Cabral basically needs this win or a win later to have any shot at getting back into playoffs. Now that Bananas, Claire, and Scoots are so established up at the top, and they're probably not going to be falling out, there's really only one more spot.
Is the only one that's up for contention, right?
Right, up for grabs. And that spot is, you know, basically between him and Black Captain. But last week, Cabral lost to Black Captain. So now it's Cabral versus Claire, which is a different beast altogether. If Claire beats Cabral, Cabral's in really bad shape. He basically needs to win his last 2 matches, one of which is against Scoots. That's really tough. Conversely, Claire isn't really keen on losing this, because maybe if, like, you know, in the event that Bananas and Scoots fight, or which they obviously will, one of them's going to incur a loss, and then Claire might be able to actually snipe the top spot, depending on how things go versus, like, Bananas or Scoots. Because she did lose to Scoots, but she could beat Bananas, and then maybe if Bananas beats Scoots, there could be some kind of recourse for her to snipe that bye from the very top of the division. So she really doesn't want to lose to Cabral, and Cabral really doesn't want to lose to her. Cabral bringing that classic Sun team plus her Shifu, shouts out. Shedinja. Claire got the Teacup and the Psychic Deranged.
And then 4 filler ones.
And 4 filler ones. I mean, Buzzwole is kind of an issue. It's a little scared of, like... It's just a little too bulky for Cabral to get comfortable around it, even though it's weak to fire. There are definitely instances where Buzzwole becomes problematic. Like in front of a fully physical Leafeon, Buzzwole would just sit there all day. It's a bit more scared of, like, Venusaur, especially after growth, or even Torkoal could cause some trouble. But overall, yeah, I mean, Audino seems like basically a filler mon. Indeedy's there to get terrain. Diance's there for, I guess, hazard control and just generally bullying Torkoal. And, you know, Thunderous' utility.
Alright. We get started?
Let's get started.
So we ran this opener a bunch.
Yeah.
Timid Diancie does so much with Earth Power. It's with this Torkoal is very clearly built to survive one Earth Power. Because I brought full Fizz Death for Buzzwole, but
yeah, we ran it mixed. It was it's supposed to deal with like Diamond Storm and something else. So it was just basically every time gonna live one hit and get off a Solar Beam.
I did like the Life Orb tech on Leafeon, especially if Synthesis is in play, which we never got a chance to see, but that's still what we really need.
Yep. And then you
player
see players,
manual rain.
Yeah, main strategy to counter Sun being manual rain.
Absolutely understands that Venusaur in the Sun is a gigantic issue.
Yep.
And then the rest of the game sort of plays out how you'd imagine.
Well, kinda. I mean, there's tech.
Well, the next like 5 turns, I guess I should say.
Yeah. This is a Sash Shedinja, which gets off a Toxic turn 1 and loses its Sash, and then just kind of comes for some turns against Psychic Terrain before sacking Torkoal to get the Sun back up, and then basically coming in to like force this thing out and start getting damage. Leafeon is a real menace, though.
It is now faster than everything in the because of Chlorophyll. I think I probably would have gone into Venusaur there.
You think
Mostly
so?
because, yeah, it's faster than... Indeedy's already revealed that it's not Scarf, I don't think, because it's Psychic, because it's Terrain Extender.
Yeah. But then you also notice there that the Weather Ball comes out. So basically, Leafeon had tech to beat Buzzwole, but Claire predicted the tech and went into Diancie, or at least wanted to scout if there was any kind of tech, which she was correct to do. And then gets up Rain again with Audino. But now she was able to get enough time for Psychic Terrain to pull back up. Poltegeist is an issue. If you smack it with a knockoff, then suddenly you're going to be bringing its weakness, you know, not weakness policy, but weak armor is going to proc, and then it'll be fast. Claire predicts that that might be the case, so goes for another Shell Smash to be faster, and unfortunately Cabral was not prepared to deal with that.
Also, and I didn't notice this in the moment, but Leafeon was also packing its own Sunny Day.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciate.
Yeah, so unfortunately, just not very good positioning from Cabral, and Claire was prepped for his, you know, secret answer to Buzzwole, basically, which kind of messed with him too much. I think that if he had preserved... I love just the mountain of text on screen when you get the multi-hit moves that are proccing effects and things. Yeah, really, you know, Cabral had answers to Claire's stuff, but Claire predicted those answers, or at least that there would be answers somewhere, and pretty effortlessly, like, navigated around them, whereas Cabral kind of really struggled to, you know, position well, losing his Sash way too early on the Shedinja, you know, kind of, you know, he had a game plan for this stuff. Like, you know, Shedinja was supposed to, like, scum turns, so, like, protect, activate Sash, protect, and then, like, Shadow Sneak, and then that you can burn 3 Psychic Terrain turns, and that goes a long way, you know, when you've killed the Terrain Setter. But, you know, Cabral just didn't play the Sat game well, didn't position correctly, and Claire had the superior prep and execution, and therefore wins.
Yeah. Sometimes you win the battle at team preview. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For the record, I don't think this is that. I think that Cabral's team could have beaten this team, and I think that this team could have beaten Cabral's team. I think it mostly came down to, like, again, positioning, like proactively playing to get your win cons in a sweeping position, which Cabral did not do as effectively as Claire, and that's why she won.
Yeah.
So, that having been said, there's our 4 matches of the Diamond Division for Week 5. Let's have a look at those stinky little standings. I'll take top 4, you can have bottom 4. Starting with, in first place by a wide margin, we have got Bananas of the Don't Drop That Dedennes with a 5-0 and plus 24 record. Currently the highest of the entire league, even higher than IDM. In second place, we've got Scoots of the Dumblespoods Army, following with a 5-0 and plus 18 differential, so also undefeated, but winning his games by a much narrower margin. In third, Claire of the Maryland Manectrics at a 4-1 and +12, and in fourth, Black, captain of the Martian Mantines at a 3-2 and +3.
Following up the Martian Mantines, we have Cabral, the Slinging Aegislashers at 2-3 -1. So really right there on the cusp on Black Captain's heels. Still very doable, depending on how the rest of the season shakes out. Behind him, we have Cresselias, Skittles at 1-4 -15, picking up the first win this week. Canadian Cottonees, Milo Mega at 0-5 -20, and lastly, we have Primarina-H. Hormone, by the way, for those who are wondering, 0-5 -21.
So we are starting to see some stuff happening, some seismic shifts in the divisions, as it were. Basically, the more Cabral loses, and again, he's kind of expected to lose his matches versus Claire and Scoots at the very least. You know, he lost to Bananas and lost to Black Captain. Those are really tough losses for Cabral to take. Even if he beats the people below him at this point, he really needs an upset to get back up there, and he needs Black Captain to kind of get upset. Because otherwise, if the rest of the season shakes out by seed, Black Captain absolutely goes on. So Cabral's on his last legs to take that fourth spot. But big news for Cresselias, man. Finally getting a win. That's huge. And Bananas, again, looking so clean at 5-0 and +24 going into his final 2 weeks, which, again, the hardest weeks he's going to have on record. Everyone's eyes are on Bananas to see if he maintains that flawless record, because he's got an impeccable record so far.
And now we know that, so if he plays in Season 6...
This is Season 6. Next season.
If he plays in Season 7, we know that we're going to see him up closer to the top. But obviously we had no real data going into the season for Bananas. So
yeah, we were predicting from like a seeding perspective that he would do about as well as like Black Captain and Cabral, so kind of there in the middle. But he has, again, just massively surpassed our expectations for how his performance was going to be. And I'm just like genuinely, again, as a spectator, I'm really, really excited to see him versus Scoots and him versus Claire. That's going to be like really big. Yeah, man, going forward, you know, Cabral needs to beat Scoots if he wants any shot at moving forward. And likewise, you know, Martian Mantines needs to really cover his ass and not drop games to people he, you know, can't afford to drop games to. Because it's, you know, right now, Martian Mantines definitely, Black Captain has the advantage over Cabral, but it's really his game to lose.
Yeah, I don't really think I have anything more to add.
Cool. In that case, thank you all very much for watching this Week 5. It was really poppin' in Diamond Division, but, you know, it was at least as poppin' in Platinum and Pearl. If you want to check out the Platinum Division recap, that's going to be with Cabral and probably Claire this time. I said it was going to be Aurora last time. Aurora has had her roof removed. There's some kind of construction shenanigans going on in her life, so she's currently unable to record, meaning that Claire has kind of been on the horn for Platinum with Cabral. So I would expect, although it is subject to change, you've got Cabral and Claire doing Platinum recap and myself and Cabral, as always, on Pearl. So make sure to check out those companion videos to this one, and be sure to come back here next week for some more double dip action in the Diamond Division.
About to make our lives really, really difficult for next week. You want to know why?
Why's that?
I'm promising the viewers here, right now, today, 8:58 a.m. on 9/27/22, we're going to have the most fire bit for our recap next week.
Oh my god, the pressure's on, bro. What are we going to do?
Then we have a week to figure it out.
All right, we will rehearse and organize a really nice bit for this week, and you're going to... Week 6, man. The game's changing. We will see you all next time. Thank you for joining us. As always, be well. Good luck.